So how can you best prepare for your stress control course? Well, we know from research I published some years ago that the better you prepare, the better you do on the course. Not only that, but this effect lasts for many months after the class ends. So this video is to guide you on how best to hit the ground running. The website contains all the information you need for your class. In the free zone, you'll find all the booklets and relaxation tracks that we use on the course. Everything you need to successfully complete the course can be found here. For those of you who are interested in going deeper into this, you can sign up to the Enhanced Zone, where you can find video recaps of each session presented by me, where I go over the most important points of each session. There are more detailed booklets, along with a much wider range of relaxation and mindfulness tracks. There's the option to choose between my voice or my clinical psychology colleague, Dr. Ruth Jameson, and the option to add in background music. You can get more information on this on the website. Let's look at the booklets. The best way to get a head start is to read the 4 booklets in the Preparing for the Course section. Welcome to Stress Control tells you more about the course. The What is Stress booklet gives you detailed information, so if you identify with the descriptions there, then you have come to the right place. Know Your Enemy is self-assessment. If What is Stress teaches you about stress in general, then this booklet helps you better understand how stress affects you personally. You can then use this knowledge to tailor-make the best set of skills for you. First Steps divides into 3, clearing the decks, finding hidden problems, and 25 simple self-help ideas that you can start to work on immediately. After that, try to read the session booklets in the week before the session takes place. For example, read the Controlling Your Body booklet before session 2, Controlling Your Body. This will help you pick up more in the session, and it will help fix the information and skills more firmly in your mind. So what should you expect at the first session? Well, there'll probably be a lot of people from all walks of life, and that's because stress affects anyone and everyone. I love the idea that so many people can come together for help, and so many people have told me that although they maybe felt daunted at first due to the number of people, they actually then felt very reassured, for example, that they were not the only one. I'm sure most people feel uptight, especially as they go into the room for the first time. And that's not surprising. You're in a new situation, not entirely sure what will happen, although hopefully this video and the booklets will help you with that. So, make sure you get there in plenty of time. And if you're daunted about getting in the door, maybe use some of the relaxation you can download on this site. And this is a story I often tell when I'm presenting the class. The story is, people are coming along to stress control for the first time. As they get closer and closer to the venue, their anxiety level starts to rise and rise and rise. And I think for some of those people, they get to the door and think, I can't do this, I'm not going in. And they turn tail and walk away. And do you know what happens to their anxiety at that point? It decreases hugely. Because avoidance works. The second you decide to avoid something, your anxiety will go down. But how do they feel an hour afterwards? Their anxiety level is now up here because they're back home and they're saying, I failed, I couldn't get in there, everyone else was going in there, but not me, I'll never get better. And that's because avoidance doesn't work. It doesn't work in the long term. Now, we compare that with someone else, getting closer and closer and closer to the venue. Their anxiety's rising and rising and rising, and they get to the door, but they force themselves in. Guts, bravery, whatever, but they get in. And do you know what happens to their anxiety when they walk in? It probably gets higher, because that's what happens when you face your fears. Initially, your anxiety gets higher. But 1 hour later, how are they feeling? The chances are their anxiety's starting to come down. Because when you face your fears, in the long run, that's when you start to build up confidence. So the big thing is simply to make it into the room. Once you're there and seated and the session gets underway, you'll realise you're all in the same boat, all there to learn some great ways to get on top of your stress. And hopefully you'll see yourself in the examples the trainer talks about and you'll feel you're in the right place. And at that point, I think you'll find your stress levels start to drop. Now, stress control is not a group therapy. It's a class, so all the seats will face the front as in a classroom. You will never be asked to talk during the session. You won't be expected to, for example, turn and talk to those around you about what brings you to the class. And there's no writing on the course either. So your job is simply to settle back, focus on the presentation the trainers are providing, fit it around your own circumstances, and then, and this is crucial, go home and start to work hard at the skills you will learn in each session. Homework is such an important part of any CBT approach, but you won't be asked to hand any homework in. Take a look at the video of me on the Stress Control website presenting a session, and you'll see exactly how your course will work. Now, you might worry that you're not clever enough to understand the course. Yes, you are. We don't use jargon, and we explain things in a very straightforward way. Of course, it's common for your concentration to flit in and out. That's what stress does to us. And that's why you've got the booklets and the website to act as a belt and braces approach with the sessions. Each session will last 90 minutes. Now, some services extend this to 2 hours, but there will always be a break in the middle. However, feel free to wander out if you feel you need a breath of fresh air at any point. As the first session wears on, you should find yourself relaxing more and more. And hopefully, by the end of the session, you'll feel you've come to the right place and you've decided you'll be coming back for session 2. So give yourself a pat on the back, you deserve it. Go home and in the coming week, start working on the most important words you will have heard in the whole session. Stress control in 9 words. Face your fears. Be more active, boost your well-being. After that, do your best to come to every session. Each one is one piece of the jigsaw, and you need to come to all 6 to make sure the big picture emerges. Remember, the aim of stress control is to turn you into your own therapist. Crucial for learning to cope with your current stress, but of equal importance, giving you the skills to nip any future stress in the bud.